Aggies. I'm excited to be here for Who's Hiring Aggies with our friends from Podium. I'm Professor Sterling Bohm, Professor of Marketing and Director of the Sales Academy here at the Huntsman School of Business. And I'm honored to have today on our call with Podium, Cameron Tolman and Jolene Smock. Welcome, friends from Podium.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here.
Yes, I would like to hear a little bit more about each Cameron and Jolene. Would you each kind of introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your journey and how you arrived at Podium?
Yeah, Jolene, take it away.
Perfect. So my name is Jolene Smock. I am a sales recruiter here at Podium, and I've been at Podium for a little over a year. And I did start out as a recruiting coordinator for our sales team. And then when the pandemic hit, we went on a hiring pause, and then I switched over to customer onboarding, where I learned a lot about the product and seeing how Podium really benefited companies. And then when we started hiring again, I became a sales recruiter. And so now I help recruit for the sales development team with Cam. And how I got here is I graduated a few years ago, and I was looking for a full-time job, and I heard great things about the tech scene, and Podium was one of those companies. And so I reached out to different recruiters to kind of learn more about the company and the culture and just the product and the position. And I loved how willing the recruiters were to teach me about Podium and tell me a little more and just help me in my career development, even though I wasn't necessarily there. And so I applied, I got the position, and I have loved every second of every minute at being at Podium. It is really great, and I do love Podium.
I share a similar sentiment. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of this company. My background is a little different. So I graduated from BYU in 2010 with a degree in landscape management. So very different from what I'm doing today, but had some plans that just, changed, and I'm excited to be where I am. So anyways, I graduated from college about 10, 11 years ago and moved to Texas, where I grew up. I started a small landscaping company that I ran for about 7 years. About 4 or 5 years into that experience of owning a small business, I realized I didn't want to be a contractor, and I probably wanted some more education and wanted to look at some other career opportunities. So I started my MBA at the University of Houston. I took night classes with 2 kids and running a business, and added on top of it, for some reason, training for a half Ironman and being a spin instructor. So some crazy years there, but as soon as I was about to graduate, I knew I wanted to be part of something young and exciting and fast and innovative. And I had some connections back up in Utah that recommended my interview at several companies. And my interview with Podium just felt very different than all the others. There was an energy and just a contagious vibe that I couldn't let go. I mean, I spent the next 2 or 3 days kind of debating where I wanted to go and which opportunity I wanted to take. And something just in my gut felt right about Podium. So I started there in May of 2017 as a sales development rep. I was basically on the phone cold calling businesses, trying to pitch them value of Podium. I then led a small team of sales development reps for about a year. I moved over to the other side of the sales team on our account executive side, closing deals for 2 years. And then now I sit as our director of business development. So I lead a team of about 170 on our sales side. So excited to talk more about Podium and opportunities, and hopefully share with the audience some insights that I've been through that might help them. So thanks for having us.
No, this is great. And I think your introductions are perfect because our students are coming from a diversity of backgrounds, and they may not know exactly what they want to do. And this is an opportunity that as you look at Podium, that they like your diverse and experiences a background that adds such a richness to the culture. Let's talk for those that don't know Podium, because they see maybe billboard signs and see maybe logos and various ways across Silicon Slopes about Podium. But for those that maybe haven't spent some time doing a lot of research on Podium, what is Podium?
Good question. Yeah, so Podium is an interaction management platform. That means not much to most people until they kind of get a taste of it. But just to give you a taste, Professor Bone, we have touched 1 in 2 cell phones in the United States. And most, citizens, I guess US citizens, have no clue that they've ever interacted on our platform, because we're simply powering mobile experiences for local businesses. That's really what we've set out to accomplish. We know that consumers love modern experiences like Amazon, like Uber, like DoorDash, where they've made buying food, getting a ride, buying any product so incredibly fast and simple and convenient that we don't expect to ever have to get off of our couch or leave our bed. I mean, everything can happen right here on our mobile devices. And as the Ubers and the Amazons and the DoorDashes of the world develop all this fast-paced technology, we realize that local businesses, like your local insurance agent or your lawyer or your mortgage company down the street or the dry cleaner, the restaurants, they just don't simply have the manpower or the bandwidth or the knowledge to go and build technology to keep up with this convenience economy that we live in. So that's where we've stepped in and realized, hey, there's a big gap in the customer experience when you go from online to local business. And so we're bridging that gap and giving local businesses a real advantage of being able to text with their customers for automatic appointment reminders. When someone lands on their website, we're powering communication that brings convenience from their website right into the business and initiates all that interaction and engagement. We've since introduced how does a business get paid more easily? Instead of having to read your credit card number over the phone and someone jots it down on a Post-it note and types it into their system, that's insecure and a little scary and very inconvenient. So we've developed payments technologies, communication technologies. Basically, if you think about your customer journey of finding a business at the local level, trying to interact with that business at the local level, paying that business and recurring business, repeating business with them, we are along that entire journey to make it simpler, more convenient, faster, and easier for both sides, both parties.
Sounds like an incredible trend that we're obviously seeing. Tell us how COVID and the opportunity that COVID presented for Podium. It's probably been an incredible opportunity as you continue to grow at a hyper rate. Tell us a little bit about the growth of Podium.
Yeah, we anticipated having a pretty tough year last year, as most did. As soon as that hit and just all the unknowns of what was going to happen. While we're not at all excited about COVID and its implications, we're very excited that we were ready for the world that we now live in. Being ahead of COVID was really good timing because our customers need our tools more than ever today. Our utilization skyrocketed from, the average business usage of Podium just jumped up leaps and bounds because nobody's in the office, nobody's in the building, nobody's at the retail furniture store anymore, but we still need to make money and we still need to sell furniture. So how do we do that when no one can answer the phones at the car dealership? Well, it's now got to interact and be able to be mobile. And so we've put Podium into the hands of all these employees of all these tens of thousands of local businesses so that wherever they are, working from home, working remotely, whatever it is, our product is kind of their solution. And we've had testimonial after testimonial come in saying, without Podium, I don't know how I would have sold anything or made any money through this COVID journey. And it's just perfectly timed where we demand mobile friendly, convenient experiences. So it's been a great experience. Jolene, do you have anything to add there on the COVID side?
I mean, you're probably more familiar with it on your end versus like the sales recruiting side. But I think because I was reassigned during COVID, I think just really seeing how the customer is interacting and how excited they were to kind of get Podium and get it up and running for their company was just so satisfying to kind of see that excitement and that vision that they saw in Podium. And so once I like got them onboarded, unfortunately I kind of passed them off, so I don't know what happened after that, but it was just that excitement that people had getting Podium and continuing their business during this tough time that everyone had was very satisfying to see.
I think it speaks a lot to your culture in a couple of ways in terms of how you've talked about COVID. And I appreciate your sensitivity around my question, because obviously I was on a call here with some other guests from a different market, and we're seeing a huge opportunity in Utah in the tech scene during this time. There's been a lot of growth and opportunity where other markets haven't experienced that. And Podium, you obviously have seen, you know, the challenges that COVID's presented to businesses, and your platform has made it that much more valuable for them to be able to stay relevant in their business places. But you know, I'm interested from also the cultural standpoint of Jolene being reassigned to a new role. That says a lot about the value of people. Can you maybe speak to in terms of the culture of Podium and how they value their employees?
Go ahead.
Okay, so since I've been here for about a year, and I've had, or a little over a year, and I've had several different positions that I like kind of held. I have loved, so one thing, when the pandemic first hit, our company and our leadership did whatever they could to prevent any layoffs. We're a whole family. We want to make sure that we try to keep everyone that we had at Podium. And so we unfortunately got rid of like weekly lunches and other perks that like the company gave us before the pandemic, but it was so needed and necessary to keep all of us here at Podium and prevent any layoffs. And I think that says a lot about the leadership and how much they care about their employees. And then one other thing, like being reassigned, one thing that I loved was that no matter where I was in the company, no matter which department or which manager I had, our Podium values really like showed in each of our leadership, no matter like what team we were on or I was on. And then I also loved like how willing, like a majority of the recruiting team were reassigned because we weren't hiring. And so it was just so great to see like how willing everyone was to take on a new role, something that they didn't sign up for, and to see them excel in those roles as well as just says a lot about just the type of people we have here at Podium. We're willing to take on new projects to help the company and help where we can. And I just love that.
Thank you for sharing that, Jolene, and sharing your experience, because I think that says a lot about, you know, just even you as an employee and kind of the attributes that you look for in terms of that flexibility, you know, that ability to be adaptive to different situations and different roles. Let's talk specifically about some of those roles. What are some of the roles for our students that are getting ready to graduate or looking forward to graduation in the not so distant future? What should they be looking for in opportunities at Podium?
Yes, so Cam, feel free to chime in since this is your team that we have roles open for. But for our sales development team, specifically for sales, we do have our inbound sales development representative role, and then we have an outbound, so more of like, more of a like small to medium sized business sales development role. And then we also have like our strategic sales development role, where you are working with bigger accounts such as like Mattress Firm, Lazy Boy, Vivint, just one of the bigger companies that we have here at Podium. And so those are just a few, but we do always have like so many different opportunities that are available, not just in sales. Granted, sales is our biggest team, and so we always have sales positions available, but we also have positions in like customer success, people ops, so like recruiting, marketing, finance, accounting, and all different types. Like just keep an eye out on our careers page, and if there's anything ever that anyone would be interested in, like I'm your gal.
Yeah, we are growing. I think I was employee 110, 120, somewhere around there. I know we're up and over 800 at this point. In the last 4 years, we've seen that kind of growth. And just in the last 5-6 months, Jolene, I think we've hired about 78 or 79 people onto my team. So my team is growing, and yeah, it's an exciting role. So whether you have zero sales experience or you've been selling for years, we can find an opportunity in a spot for great talent to come and join us. One thing, Professor, that I really like to help people think about, and I think speaks well of our culture, there's certain attributes and traits in individuals that are going to make them great in certain seats. Skills can be taught. That's why you're a professor, because you can teach certain skills. But teaching skills to an unorganized individual or somebody who doesn't have grit and somebody who's not teachable or coachable is going to be it's probably your hardest and toughest student, right? So we, similar to you, probably look for just characteristics that we know make great sales individuals and sales professionals. We don't necessarily go and say, hey, your resume has to be chock full of 5 years of knocking doors and X, Y, and Z experiences, because we know that, and we're confident in our ability to take what you teach and supplement that with some Podium specific knowledge and really turn the right attributes into really great sales professionals. So if you're feeling hesitant, or maybe I'm not fit or qualified, like, we can take anybody that has the right hardcore like characteristics and attributes and turn you into an incredible sales professional. 3.5, 4 years ago, when I started Podium, sure, I owned a business and I had to do sales, but I was not a hard salesperson, or what I think the defined salesman. I've developed a lot of that talent here, but I was organized and I have a ton of grit and I work my butt off and I don't stop, and that has paid off well for me. So don't be intimidated by the thought of sales. I never thought I'd be here. My parents can't believe I'm a salesperson, but we're all salespeople. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the most powerful and impactful career choices you can make that will influence your entire life. Outside of work, you're going to be, you're a salesperson no matter what, no matter where you are. And I think developing this skill set, whether sales is your career long-term or not, I think spending a couple years on a sales team will greatly benefit anyone in their career. So whether that's at Podium or not, I'd highly recommend it.
I'll say amen to what you shared there, Cameron, in terms of the value of sales. And I think, it's natural that some students have some reluctance to maybe go into sales. They maybe don't feel like that they fit that stereotype, or they just haven't had the experiences. But really, as they recognize, especially sales at Podium, is really about delivering impact and helping serve your customers with solutions that really help grow their business and help them personally. And I think there's a lot of meaning that we find as we talk with professionals like yourselves about why they are doing sales. I would like to know, Cam, from your perspective, what is your why, right? What is your why for being at Podium, your why for being in sales?
You already answered it. And if you hadn't asked, I was going to cut you off to be able to say it. So you're exactly right. Podium is a very unique company that I think the culture is so rich because it fulfills so many of our personal whys. So many of us feel a need or a desire to make a difference in other people's lives. And I bet, Professor Bone, you're probably feeling the same way. You get to influence a lot of young individuals, like get them launched into their career and help them be successful for the future. And that's probably rewarding for you. It's rewarding for me. So in my particular seat, I get to take a lot of young sales professionals and develop them and give them a really good opportunity, a lot of training and a lot of coaching, and then launch them into a great sales career going forward. And that's really rewarding for me. In particular, why Podium is because I get to have an impact not only on the people that I work with, but also on the businesses that we sell to. And understanding that we target local businesses. Think of Main Street America. think of the again, like the dry cleaner, the restaurant, the insurance agent, the real estate agent, all the way down Main Street America. We've touched 60,000 businesses and revolutionized the way that they thrive in this new economy. And that feels great to know that I get to have an impact on these small mom and pop shops and their local employees. They're about 60% of the, I don't know the exact number, but they're more than 60% of the economy, right? And we're helping address their needs. It's, there's a lot of like sexiness in Google and Amazon and all the big firms and all these big companies. And they do great things, but I feel a ton of integrity going home knowing that I made a difference in a small business's life and their family and their employees' world, and in that small town today. So it's really nice to be part of a greater cause in what we're selling, and knowing that that product truly does have a big impact on their success.
Thanks, Cam, and thank you, Jolene, for sharing the opportunities here as it relates to that why. And I think that's what I find most impactful about our students. And my challenge for the student listeners and others listening is to really reflect upon your why and what you're looking for, because I think you'll find that that will align with the values of Podium and the values that you're seeking in your career and in your life. I'm excited to continue to re-engage with Podium. How can our students reach out, particularly as they're interested in some of the roles that you described?
Yes, I can. So I definitely recommend connecting with me on LinkedIn, and then just building that relationship with me. Reach out, introduce yourself, tell me what you're interested in if you see like a position on our careers page. And I'm more than happy to hopping on a call, or even just messaging back and forth with one another, and just like helping you just see that vision, see the opportunities here at Podium. And then I definitely also recommend keeping an eye out on our careers page. We are constantly opening up new positions. And so if there is ever a position, then you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So
wonderful. So attention Aggies, this is a company that's on the rise in every way, and opportunities for you to launch and build a career with Podium. I want to thank Jolene Smock and Cameron Tolman for being our guests. Thank you both for being here.
It was a pleasure. Thanks so much for having us. We'll be back anytime, and we'd love to chat with any of your students and answer any of their questions. Thanks so much.
yes, thank you so much, Professor Bone and Cam.